Hello Flosstube, my name is Laura and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see and I would love to know more about what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I, as always, so appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and talk cross stitch. So thank you. I have, as usual, a mess all the way around me. I have two different like TV tray tables that I use in front of me for stitching and the extras and all that good stuff. So we've got lots to talk about, so let's just jump right in. Okay, first off, thank you so much. Oh, I forgot to bring it over. To all of you who said you would stitch Kringles if, you know, and take it off my hands, basically. Stitch it, finish it, and enjoy it at your will. So I did not choose anybody because I know some people really like to watch my videos from the previous week, Thursday nights, Friday mornings. So I wanted to make sure everybody who was interested got a chance, and then I will choose probably this weekend and reach out to the individual. I don't want to announce a name on the videos because I don't want to put you on the spot. Maybe you've changed your mind. Maybe you've decided you don't want to take mine, whatever the case is. So we'll do it that way. And then we'll go from there. But thank you. I really appreciate all of you taking, saying that you would kind of take it off my hands, so to speak, and wouldn't mind my wonky stitches. So thank you. The Flosstuber state of the week, I realized as of Wednesday, I hadn't put it on my Facebook page. Stitching by the Shore is my Facebook page. If you're interested, please answer the questions and answer them so I know that you are a stitcher, is all I'm going to say with that. I've got so much going on right now, and so many of you said, take a step back, figure out, don't stress. And that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to go through all of the states that I've already named. I'm going to go through all of the comments of you suggesting people or yourselves, and I want to get all of that settled before I continue to pile on and add more states. So I'm hoping, within the next week or two, I can have all of that set and I'll feel in a good place. And then I'll evaluate whether December is a good time to restart it or 2025 is a good time to restart it. I'm going to take that as it comes because I'm definitely starting to feel that pile on of stress. And we do this because we love it, right? So I don't want to get to the point where I don't love it. And then for those of you waiting for your trading cards, we are at the very last push to get those out. So Mo is going to help me this weekend double check everything I've done. They've all been assigned, they've all been placed everywhere and all of that stuff. I had a moment of panic when I was doing that this week because I first pick all the pairs and I put all the names out, and then I go through the trading cards and I start placing them, I flip them over, I see whoever's name it is, and then I put it wherever. And it wasn't working out. I had names that didn't have cards and cards that didn't have names, and I kind of panic's probably a strong word, but it's somewhere in those lines. Did I lose something? No, I didn't, because it all worked out. So it just took a step back and maybe an hour of rechecking myself. So that's why, and I have in the past had Mo double check me as well. So we are going to do some of that this weekend, and in the beginning of next week, I hope to get to the post office and get those mailed out. So fingers crossed it all goes smoothly from here and there's no more panic moments. All right, so let's get going on my stitching. I have 13 projects to share with you, no finishes, one start. My starts, as you'll notice, in November and December generally start to fade off. I'm very strong in the first, say, 10 months of the year. Well, October, because it's my birthday month, I start a lot. But I definitely, front end the year with a lot of starts and then kind of peter out at the end of the year. But I do have quite a few that maybe like 4 or 5 within the next month and a half that I would like to start. So and that's that I know of right now. That could always be added to as time goes. So we'll talk about some of those during plans. And we'll see if you're starting any of those or want to start them as well, if I can enable you a little bit. All right, so let's get going with the stitching part though. So my once a month piece, I guess, is the best. I need a good name for the rotation. So 4 pieces, I rotate, they're 4 big pieces. Every week I try to give them 500 stitches, rotate to the next one. And if I can find Fish and Chips, there it is. This is the one that was this week. Fish and Chips is a long dog sampler pattern. It's my first. I am very much enjoying it, but there are a lot of big patterns that I like from a lot of designers. So whether or not I start another one of these in the near future, I'm not sure about. But look, I think I'm at 65-ish or so percent. I don't have the, I have my iPad with me, but I do this on Pattern Keeper, so I don't have that tablet here to check. This is 18 count, and it is a blue-green, well, it has no name. It was from a blue-green Black Friday pack, pack of 3 from last year from Dying for Cross Stitch. So I wonder, I think she may have mentioned something about Black Friday packs again. She has a Facebook page where she announces when she puts stuff up, but if you just go, if you go to my description box and you go to the very end, I list some of my favorite fabric dyers. And I'm almost sure Kathy is listed there. I don't see why she wouldn't be. But Dying for Cross Stitch. And keep an eye out. Maybe she'll have another pack. It was an affordable set of the 3. You didn't know what you were getting, I don't think. I don't remember. I don't remember if there was a picture of the 3. Maybe there was, now that I think about it. So you'd have some sort of idea. But I am stitching this with DMC floche, and I'm using the Blanc. There is a B5200 floche, which I didn't know about at the time, but I think this one, the Blanc, pops pretty well. So I'm happy with it. And then any backstitch, I'm going to use Sulky White. There is a little bit that I've done, but this pattern doesn't have a ton. I think the most is going to be over here by the lighthouse. But because there's not that much, I decided that I will wait until the end. This obviously has no chance of being finished by the end of this year. It was my new year, new start for 2024. So I'm going to try, as I start now, I start thinking about, my whip parade. And when I do that, last year, I set goals for all my pieces, nothing set in stone. I think my goal for this, thinking about it, might be to try to finish it in 2025. I don't see why I can't, because I got over 50% in 2024. And in June, there was a hashtag stitch along. I think it was June Dog Sal. And every day I worked on it. So if that is a stitch along next year as well, then, and I haven't finished it, then I think I'll give it a little bit every day in June. Oh, so one of the games that I play was just one that, so I like a lot of stitching games and challenges just because I have a lot of projects. I probably have a good 80 projects. And so I just like to use these games sometimes to pick and choose. And I know sometimes I'm going to stitch something, but it's a little bit more fun to have it as part of the game. So one of the games that I created for myself, I took a page from Magazine Monthly Challenge, who does Bringo and does AB Singo and all of that, is I made myself a sort of a bingo board. It's 36 squares because I didn't really pay attention to I use the words giving thanks, or thanks is over here. So as a result, I have 26 projects, and then I have 10 kind of life things to do in the month of November. November is considered a gratitude November, because it is our Thanksgiving month, and so on and so forth. So I looked for prompts for that. So that's what I'm doing. And yesterday, Fish and Chips was, what was Fish and Chips? Oh, a large stitch was what popped up. So that qualifies as a large stitch. So that's what I did. All right. See, I have notebooks and things and all of that good stuff. I haven't completely filled this in yet. I think there's one or two that I have done that I haven't filled in, but I almost have a bingo this way. Oh, okay. I might get a bingo by the next time I see you. Alrighty, so next. So I'm doing the giving thanks projects first, and then I'll go back to some of my other projects and go from there. Some of these also work for the acrostics that I'm doing through Magazine Monthly and Crafts and Books. And I just have some fun with it otherwise. I do have a Whip Warriors thing that I'm going to be doing this weekend. Alrighty, so this next one was a stitch that challenges me. So you know, this is most definitely a stitch that challenges me. I would have picked Kringle's probably if I was keeping it, but you know I'm not. This is Turkey Day. It's from Cottage Garden Samplings. It was part of, or is part of, the Time for All Seasons series. This was number 11, and this was in 2021, the series. Now that turkey is gorgeous, but challenging. To just do it by using a working copy or whatever, which is what I generally do with these patterns. So I ended up, well, I got inspired. Helen D, let me write down, where is my book? I write down, Helen D is stitching this. East Coast Crafter, I think, is Helen, but her YouTube is Helen D. I'm sure you're watching Helen. She's awesome. She was stitching on it. And what was funny is she had a Flosstube update, and then after that, she had an Instagram post, which she had gotten farther. Because I'm so far behind on Flosstube, I actually saw her Instagram post before I watched her Flosstube video. And she so inspired me in the kick in the butt kind of way, like, get on it, Laura, you know, just stop complaining about it and just find a way to do it, sort of thing. And so I did. I ended up taking a picture of the pattern. It is a little bit blurry for some reason, but I was able to sort of put it into markup, RXP. Markup frustrates me because you'll have two symbols that are the same, and there's no change in the look, but markup will only pick up one of them, even if I put the sensitivity all the way to the edge. So I don't know. I'm sure there's other ways to work with it, but that's why I only work with it sparingly. But this idea of taking a picture and putting it in, I like that, you know, when I can't do anything else. So I was able to do that, and I don't click on a symbol specifically and then look for it. I just make it really big, find the symbols. And so I was able to get quite a bit of this done. There's a little bit more, but once that's done, then this is all fill-in of one color. So I did a combination of that. Then I also started doing some more of this kind of, again, once I get that color done, the fill-in is easy. And here, this is the same pattern, but with the fill-in color here, and that you just switch. So I got some of that done. And then I think I was somewhere where I didn't have my iPad. So I did do some more of this because I was able to read the pattern easily with that. So I'm actually quite pleased with the progress I got on this, considering, you know, I don't specifically stick with one piece for an extended period of time on any given day. On any given day, I could work on, the least amount that I'd probably work on project-wise is, well, 2 would be a stretch, probably 3. And I've been known to work on as many as 5 or 6, especially with events like 24 Hours Cross Stitch and stuff. So this is done on an 18 count Buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. If you, again, go to my description box, To Die For Fabrics is taking a sabbatical. I'm really hoping I don't need to start saying that they've closed their shop permanently, but they were taking off 2024 from hand dyeing fabrics. So we'll see what happens. I really do like their fabrics, so I'm kind of sad. But maybe you can find people that are getting rid of some in their stash on some of the de-stash sites. So that's what it looks like. I will continue to work on this week and probably the next up to Thanksgiving to see what I can get done. I won't finish it. In fact, my 2024 goal was to finish the turkey. But, I mean, honestly, the leaves are going to be super easy after that, frankly, the bottom. but I was doing it without kind of paying attention to trying to figure out ways to make it easier to do that. And I would get frustrated. And so it just sat for most of the year. Now I have a plan and a game plan. So I'll get done what I can get done, and then maybe make my 2025 goal a finish. I mean, because if I can get that turkey done, the rest is going to be easy. All right, next one. My prompt on Saturday was teach a project that teaches me patience. And this one has definitely been that, in such a way that kind of like Kringles, but I won't, this is as far along as Kringles, but I am willing to do the work to finish it myself. It's going to go in the scrapbook. It'll look great when it's done, but it's definitely teaching me patience. It's a beautiful pattern. Part of it is just all on me, to be perfectly honest with you. This is Earth Laughs from Jan Hicks. Jan just put out a Flosstube. I'll link her if you're not watching Jan. I love just listening to her voice. And ironically, I kind of turned my iPad and did that this past time. And she acknowledged it in the comments and said she won't do that again. But the way her camera was set up in this last video, it followed her face. So you know me, like I'm going this way and I'm going that way. So was the camera. It was kind of making me a little seasick, to be honest with you. So I couldn't watch her, but I could listen to her. And listening to her, she just has such a wonderfully calming voice that I listened to the whole video and didn't see a thing, but that's okay. Next video, I'll see what she's stitching. So here I am. Now, what did I do to challenge myself? Well, I tried 20 count for the first time, which that's fine. But we've all learned now. I have a long history of complaining. Let's call it what it is, right? Of one strand stitching. I am just abysmal at it. And I chose to try the Cosmos. Now, I have no idea if Cosmo floss one strand is harder than DMC one strand versus, I suspect one of these days I'm going to try a one strand with a variegated floss, because they seem to have a little bit, they seem to be a little bit stronger, to be honest with you. Even with two strands, some of my DMC will shred if I have a long strand, but I can get away with a lot more on my variegated. Has anybody done kind of like a unscientific survey? Does variegated, is it a little bit stronger? Well, anyway, so now I'm at the point where I'm at strands that are about, lengths that are about this long, one-stranded. I'm really trying to adjust my tension and how I do it, because I know that I am a puller. So my threads shred, to be honest with you. So this is a beautiful piece that shouldn't have taken this long, but just through a whole series of events it has. So it's been teaching me patience. I'm there almost. I have to finish this border. I just need, you can see I started the word. The last thing I did was the little bit of this extra. This is the word flowers. That'll be in the purple. I have the flower here and then some butterflies. Oh, and you see this corner? That will be repeated over here. There's the four corners of kind of a look. So the two top are larger floral, and then the bottom is probably this one. Now, I did do this with a working copy, and I bought the digital, but I didn't have Pattern Keeper at the time. For this last bit, maybe I will just try to pop that in to see if I can do this. This flower is on a page break, and it's completely messed up. So that's what I was saying when I said I got frustrated with it again, and it definitely is trying to keep me patient, teach me patience. I had half of it done, and then when I went and started this side, last time I picked it up, something is off count-wise. So now these flowers are too far over from these. I'm going to have to fudge it because it's going to look silly otherwise. So I'm going to have to make this area bigger. I have to extend this for the leaf. Luckily, everything else around it's already done, so I won't be counting anything off of this. I mean, and I can figure out if there's butterflies here. That's easy enough to figure out. But it was another frustration that I didn't need in the extent of this. I love this saying, the earth laughs in flowers, which is really funny because if you know me and plants, I am like the plants. I've said this before, plants will cry seeing me coming. There's a reason why all of our stuff is doing well. It's because Mo waters it and takes care of it. If it was up to me, I think we would have lost all of it already. But I had a stamp that said the earth laughs in flowers, and it was a whole set, and I lost it somewhere in the move, which is so sad to me because it had really cool flowers that were geometric, so they were easy to color in, and I had the saying, and I used to make cards from it. And so it kind of reminds me of my card making days, which is really kind of a nice memory for me. So, I mean, and I still make cards sparingly now, but not like back then. So I want this finished and I want it in the scrapbook, but it definitely, when I say it's teaching me patience, it definitely is. I probably thought that my goal in 2024 was to get it finished. Not happening at this point. 2025, though, I'm going to find ways to put it in and focus on it so that it can be a finish. All right, next. Oh, for some reason, I didn't take out, sorry about that. I forgot to take out this, which is kind of funny because usually when I set everything on my pile here, I have everything set. All right, next. What was the prompt? Oh, a nature scene. Okay, this is not your traditional, if you were to say nature scene, but close enough. I mean, it is nature. It's a butterfly, a caterpillar, flowers, all the bit. I hadn't stitched on this in a while. And when I started this, a bunch of you stitchy friends joined me and have finished it since. So I would like to get going on it. It is Wings of Change by Silver Creek Samplers. And let me show you where I am. Here it is. 18 count bell-bottom blues from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And I did a bunch of the letters. This is going to be apparently my theme of the week. I messed up my counting. So you can see how the second T is a little fatter than the first. It's not supposed to be that fat. I have notes because I have a working copy on this. I have notes on my working copy because I have to finagle the E a little bit. Otherwise it won't fit. But it'll get done. It'll get there. But I stopped because I didn't feel like doing that. And I went and I stitched the caterpillar instead. Is he done? No. The caterpillar has one more set of strands of color to put into him. And you're going to be like, well, what is that blob up there? I'm using Anchor Black. I'm sure you can know where I'm going with this when I say I'm using Anchor Black. And I had finished some down here, the black. And given the fact that people are telling me that you can't get it anymore, that's what I've heard on several Flosstubes or whatever. I guess now that DMC bought out Anchor, you know, there was a question whether or not it'd be as good anyway, because I prefer DMC Black, my own personal preference, to 310. So I had a tiny little bit left on my needle, and back when I could get Anchor Black easily, I would have just thrown that out. But since it's going to become short, so since you can't even get it anymore, I was like, I'm going to do as much as I can. So this is the start of the wing of the butterfly over here. And I was going to squeeze out every little X I could get from that Anchor floss. Now, when I started stitching this, I started obviously with the flower. As you can tell, I wasn't sure I had picked the right blue, especially when I didn't have the two colors in there. I just had the lighter, and I really, really thought about switching it. But I decided to kind of see where it went and see how it goes. And now that I have more colors in, and the butterfly is going to be orange-ish, so that's going to be another, and there'll be a lot of green down here. I like it. When I was looking at it this morning, getting ready for the video, I said, yep, I like that. I have seen people convert this to purples. So you need a light, medium, and dark if you want everything to match similar to this. So you could pick any color really that you like, but it was beautiful in the purple. If I had seen that before I did the pinks, I might have switched over. But I do like this color, the deep maroonish. So I'm happy with that. And I think that'll look really good against this color. So yeah, that's where that is. And that one I'll just I'll use challenges probably to continue with that and to stitch on it. I am going to choose I did choose a variegated orange. I'm not going to grab it out of there now. To do the inside of the butterfly, because you know how I've been introducing variegateds into my stitching life is I just pick colors I like, and then when I see they could be used in a pattern, I just plop them in, regardless of what is actually called for. So, you know, that's the way it is. Alrighty, next, let me switch over. Monday's prompt was my oldest stitch. So when you take out Kringles, and there's a full coverage that is in, one or two full coverages that are in, they didn't see any work this year. They're kind of in that holding period of, am I keeping them or not? This one became my oldest stitch. I started this in December of 2020, so we're coming on 4 years. And it is Christmas Town from Emma Condon, Stitchrovia. There we go. I wanted to say Tiny Modernist, but I knew that was wrong. It's Stitchrovia. And I love it. I love the colors. I'm a big fan of Stitchrovia. Again, I had a digital, but I didn't know what to do with that versus just a paper copy, working it like that. Well, that's tough because there's a lot of color changes. This is where I am right now. I am using an 18 count Opal. That was the first time I ever said, oh, let's try some Opal. And I love it. And I've since finished other things on the white Opal, but I thought it would be a lot of fun for this Christmas scene. So after the reason why this has been around for so long is, well, first off, I was struggling with the paper pattern and it just wasn't working. I had made mistakes and had to pull, because things count off of things here. And while you can fudge maybe the two different greens, when the houses start, when the architecture starts changing, things will start looking wonky. So then I just basically took the digital and I would just blow it up and look and stitch. And that worked for, you know, wasn't crossing anything off or anything. Well, I did try to get this one into, this one is in markup again. It did go into markup. Again, it can't tell the symbols. So what I do is I just make it big. I stitch something, and then you can mark it off without assigning a symbol. So everything is just this navy blue color of sorts, mark off as I go. But that's fine. I don't care. It just, this way, it doesn't give me the color so that I know what I'm bouncing off of, but it's good enough that I can continue with it. So I am thinking I would like to give this, you know, this is basically a full coverage. So I'm thinking I want to make this a daily full coverage piece to see how far I can get by the end of the year. I don't think I'll finish it. There is a lot still to do, and there's a lot of color changes. So stitching this takes time, but I want to see what I can do. So you probably will see this on a regular basis moving forward to the end of the year. And let's see what I can do before its 4-year anniversary, with the idea that, okay, get as much done as possible, and then hopefully maybe in 2025 I get a finish. All right, next. Pick a pattern that was carried over from last fall. Well, I wanted to work on this anyway, so this was perfect because this was started 2 years ago in November, so it's 2 falls now. It's November's Chrysanthemum from Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's part of the My Garden Journal series. And I'm getting there. Will I finish it by the end of November? No, I don't think so, but I might continue through December to get a finish on this. This is done on 18 count Bambino from Tropical Stitches. And I jumped in. I'm telling you, my life will be so much easier when I get the outer design of this chrysanthemum done. There's 3 colors in each of the chrysanthemums. The hardest one is the first one. There's a lot of counting. Again, I'm working with a working copy on it. And the symbols kind of, you know, after a while, they just all blend together. So I worked on that. And then when I was starting to get a little, headachy or my eyes weren't seeing right, then I went and I did more greenery. So the greenery is almost done. I need to extend it here, and I think I have another leaf or so, but that's almost done. Next time I pick it up, I'd like to try to get the outer edge of this, maybe at least one of the inside colors, finish the greenery, and then I'd only have a little bit to finish, and then over here I have the corn, the 2 ears of corn, and I just have to finish off the stems of all these others. So I seriously think this could be a 2024 finish. I don't see why it couldn't, and that's going to be a goal. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm almost sure, because knowing that I have to really pay attention with this flower will dictate when it comes out. If I'm really tired or brain foggy, not happening. If the lighting's not great, not happening. So everything's gonna kind of have to work out well for me to work on that. Now, maybe it gets pulled out and I work on the ears of corn or something else, I guess. But 2024 end of the year finish, that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, I'm gonna do through Wednesday because I have 13 projects, and so Thursday you'll see it next week. Wednesday's prompt reminds me of a loved one. So when I thought of loved one, I thought of family, and I'm really trying to get this one finished this year. I still have 1,000 stitches, so I'm concerned that it won't, which is fine. I mean, concern is probably an exaggeration, because you know I get things finished when I get things finished, and that's fine. But I pulled out Ireland, and this is from Vlada XStitch. I do have this one. I did all of this paper before I got Pattern Keeper. I was able to put it in Pattern Keeper, and it has made my life so much easier. So now on this bottom part, that's where I'm working. I originally was going to change all of the colors of the greens. I ended up changing one of them, and I'm pleased with the look of it. I'm not stitching the word. And at the very bottom, there's some pinks and flowers, and I can't wait to get to them. But I'm slowly working my way, actually this way. So it'll get there eventually. But this is 18 Count Champagne from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And I'm really pleased. I was able to, these prompts, I give myself, my goal is 200 stitches in the day. And I was able to get that all week long. And I think this got a little bit more than that. But there was some stuff I needed to fill in up here. So this is all filled in now. And then I just keep going back and forth. Obviously, as you can see, there's 4 or 5 different shades. So, you know, there'll be a section and you kind of jump around, and then you go put that color aside, go to the next one, because it's a little, I don't want to trust myself with the counting. Now, this is forgiving. If I mess up here or there, you know, it's not too bad. But I just work a strand through and decide, okay, do I want to continue with that color, or then just kind of start filling in that way. So this little section will not be filled in. That's kind of like where ocean would be, so to speak. Down here does need to be filled in. But we're getting there. So I will continue. I actively look for prompts that this one will work for. Neither acrostic had an eye this month, because that's usually what I use it for, is an eye in the acrostic. So I'll have to see, given the towns and cities that have meaning to us, I'll have to see if any of them work for the acrostic, either acrostic, because that's usually a great way for me to throw it in. So Beth, if you're watching, if December could have an eye in the acrostic, I would be super, super. Beth is the administrator for Crafts and Books. I'm going to link Beth. She's the steadfast stitcher, and she's really fun to watch. I don't think Carolyn watch. In fact, I doubt it. Carolyn doesn't watch for the administrator of Magazine Monthly. But Beth, please, if you don't worry about it. Maybe I'll try to find. If you put a V in there, I can use Vlada for Vlada XStitch. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So besides my full coverage that you've seen all month, I decided to pull out another one. I went through my little cards. I have all of my information on library cards for my full coverage pieces, just to kind of, I just started that this year. just a way for me to keep track of how many stitches in the year. Now that I have Pattern Keeper, I can keep track of that a little bit easier for the full coverage. It was a little harder for me otherwise. And so I decided to pull this one out because I hadn't worked on it in a while. This is called Bottled Beauty. I want to say it's Cross Stitch for Everyone on Etsy is the chart, the individual who charted it, and the artwork's by Fun Digital. So that's what it looks like. And I think one of the I Spy prompts, no, I was going to use I Spy Brown, but I had used it for something else already. I Spy is a challenge that I have created for anybody who wants to do challenges. This one, actually, I did, anybody who asked if they wanted my prompts from this, you know, they were more than welcome to get them. But I Spy, I put on my Facebook page, and I also put it on my community page so that you don't have to be on Facebook. I always try to make sure if there's other ways for you to get these things, because I don't want you to go somewhere that you're not comfortable. But one of the prompts was stitch something brown, and this has lots of browns in it. I can't wait to get to the bottle and the starfish. So that's what it looks like. Let me hold it up first. And I did a little bit on all sides, to be honest with you. What's nice is there's a lot of chunks of color. Now, thank goodness for Pattern Keeper, because you can see you do have to count, and there's mixtures of colors. But, you know, you just, with that, you just look at it and you just fill in as you go. So I was able to fill in some of the, like are the little pieces ninja stitches? I don't know all the terminology. There's some of those still. They'll get done eventually. This is 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, and I do full crosses. I use DMC, although Leanne from Small Town Stitches, if you like full coverage, let me link Leanne, then you need to watch Leanne. She's been using that CXC, and I'm really intrigued to give it a try for full coverages. There is a storefront, I don't know if it's an Etsy or not, or if it's just a standalone site, out of England, out of the UK, I should say. I don't know exactly where, that Leanne has had wonderful luck with getting CXC, so I might try some. Anyway, that's where it is. I didn't get 1,000 stitches on it. I think I got 900, but that's fine. I had set modest goals for my full coverages for 2024 because I didn't have Pattern Keeper at the time. So I can probably get twice as many stitches now than I did before. So I have long since met the goal. I'm now just adding extra stitches in these to get them a little farther. What I should do in my mind is maybe double the goal and see if in the year I could get that, if I can get twice as many stitches. So that might be already at that point. But I was very modest with my goals because I truly didn't know how much I could do with the full coverages. All right, here's my start. If you saw my my little reel that I put together in conjunction with Just Cross Stitch magazine, I talked about the Just Cross Stitch 2024 Christmas issue, and I had talked about a start I wanted to make, and I chose this one, Peaceful Path. It is designed by Sunny Lofstrom from 3 Tiny Owls. And it is a little full coverage. So it is full coverage. But hey, if you want to try one and you've not done one before, this is perfect. It is 70 by 70. So certainly a nice little kind of chunk of color. Now, I did take a picture of this and attempt to put it in Markup RXP. My picture again is wonky. So parts of it are not in there well, like they don't line up at all in any way, shape, or form. But this is very blocky in color. So if you were just able to blow up and make a working copy say blown up, if it's easier for you to see the symbols, I think you could do that just fine. What I might do is try to take another picture and maybe just even do that. Because, you know, it's a chunk of this blue, then a chunk of another, and so on and so forth. Even around here, there's not going to be much confetti. So I think this one is a great one if you've not done a lot of full coverage to just give it a go. And that's where I am. Because it's a small scrap, I actually decided not to stitch it on white. I'm going through my scraps of fabric because, you know, on small pieces, why not, right? Rather than cutting into something big. So this is an 18 count. It's a blue of some sort. It feels like fabric by Stephanie. It might be Nantucket blue. No, Nantucket sky. But I can't say for sure. It's somewhere along the Nantucket sky lines, though, I bet you. But it definitely feels like Stephanie's fabric. So I didn't get, I got over 200. Actually, in fact, I think I got 350 stitches. I'm not all the way over to the edge because on top and bottom, I have a little bit long. I'm only going to have an inch on the side to side. It's fine because it's a full coverage. So I'll be doing it right up to the edge type of thing. But, so I still have, you know, maybe about this much to do. Now, one thing I forgot to look up. Gosh. All right. I'll just kind of, my brain, you know, is mush right now, but has been for the, you know, just going through that whole brain fog thing. But somebody had reached out to me and sent me an email saying the white and the ecru look like they're switched symbols versus colors. And they were on the ball, reached out to Just Cross Stitch Magazine. Just Cross Stitch Magazine did get back to them and said, yes, there is a mistake. And they sent them what's correct. So I don't know 100% where and how that all works out because I looked at it, but again, my brain just, I'm right now, you know, you'll tell me something and then I sort of remember it, but not. And it's just the season in life I'm in. I get it. And I meant to check this morning because I really wanted to give you that information exactly, but you know, it is the way it is. No use beating myself up over it. But I don't know if there's an errata sort of page. Is that how you say it? Errata, E-R-R-A-T-E-A-T-A? Errors page. I'll just say that. I don't know if Just Cross Stitch Magazine has one. It might be something to look at or for that there is, if you're stitching this, there is a mistake. We are doing a hashtag Peaceful Path Sal, if you'd like to join along with the stitching. And hopefully maybe if I have a little bit more, and I remember, because you know I'm an Instagram fail, I'll post on Instagram. I'm too busy crafting to sit there and post. And that's just, and then when I'm looking at it, I'm nowhere near my crafting stuff. So then I'm like, oh gosh, I can't post. Okay. I am out of the giving thanks prompts at this point, if you haven't realized that. All right, next. It's Christmas coming up in like 6 weeks. I do have across the way 2 trees up that way, one of which has all of my crafty ornaments on it as of now. Hopefully I'll have some more finished that I can put on. So I'm in the Christmas mood, and therefore, where is it? Oh, here it is. I pulled out, because I so love this one, Christmas Band Sampler from Lost in Stitches Lisa. I think her Etsy shop is just called Lost in Stitches. I got this last year and I started it, but then, you know, I just didn't stitch a lot of Christmas in the course of the year. No reason really, it just didn't pop up. So I pulled it out. My goal, I think, for this year was to do the first half. I've kind of adjusted that. I think what I'd like to do is get the whole outer border done. And because that's how I've kind of been stitching it, kind of organically. That's how it's been working. So if I could do that, that's kind of like half. And then, you know, the inside, and right now it's all one color. So it's kind of monochromatic at the moment. The entire piece is not monochromatic, but at the moment it is. And there I am. This is 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I completed all together. I don't know what I was thinking. I picked the most difficult way to stitch this side. I don't know. So I got all that done. And now I'm on this side, and I kind of was like, well, why don't I just stitch the center and then do all those side pieces? So that's what I'm doing, and it's much easier. And then I'll probably stitch the borders there after I get all of this done, as I'll be able to see where it all is. So will I get this and this done by the end of the year? Maybe. I'm going to find some prompts that this will work for. So it'll come out multiple times again before the end of 2024. But it is such a lovely stitch. And I am so excited to stitch this. Lisa really charted a lovely, lovely pattern. And if you're thinking, and it is digital. I haven't tried it in Pattern Keeper or anything because it is such an easy pattern to read. So I had just printed it, and to stitch it just with a working copy is so easy that I haven't really thought, oh, I really should put this in Pattern Keeper. I haven't felt the need at all. So Lisa just created such easy to read pattern that just kudos to her, because it really is lovely. All right, next. So I have never done kind of like a dark 13 Halloween sort of stitching, but I was thinking about it. This is a big piece. Wouldn't it be nice to at least once a month pick it up, find other prompts maybe for it, because it's going to take me a while. And so I pulled out Witch's Hollow on Wednesday was the 13th. So I pulled it out on Wednesday and decided to give some work to it. Full coverage, I'm up here at the top. So I'm not sure necessarily if it'll look like I did much if you were to see last week's, but I feel good about it. So that's what counts. You know, I'm just going to do this. Easier to hold. That's where it is. This is 18 count Genuine Jillian by Those Missing Stitches. That is looking a little bit more terracotta. Now, it's not in your face orange, but it is brighter than what this is showing up. And it's so lovely. The orange parts of that show through, which is why all of us are stitching it kind of in that kind of look. Helen D is also stitching this. Helen got it in the box last year because she had gotten the Halloween box. She started from the bottom and she is, gosh, 50 or 60% done, I think. I don't remember what she said, but it looks beautiful. But I think, yeah, if I pull this out once a month, at least, right? Maybe other times. This is in Pattern Keeper, went in easily like a dream, so it's really nice to stitch there. This is the edge. So I have gotten to that far corner. So that's all there is. These are the same purples that are in Serena Sprout. So I'm revisiting them again, which is lovely. But I got a little tired of purple. So I had started the black last week or last time. Now it's hard to see yet. It'll fill in more once I have everything around it. There's some yellow in there, and I'm filling in some more of the colors. So it's starting to kind of be a little bit more than just that spooky purple sky that'll be there. But it's lovely. And yeah, I like that idea of doing that once a month and trying to get it moved along a little bit, because otherwise, you know, it might take a long time. I don't remember, because I stitched Autumn Town from them, right? This is Autumn Lane Stitchery, if I didn't say that before, excuse me. And that took me a few years, but I had kind of stalled for a while and then reinvigorated myself by doing a little bit each day for a while. But I need to find a plan on this one so it doesn't linger. It won't be next year that it's done. I have under no illusions of that. But if I can move it along a little bit and start to get some things done, I'll be happy. Alrighty, where's this one? Okay, this was the one I focused on for the month, full coverage wise, 100 stitches a day. And it is Mini Sunflower Cottage so the artwork is by Donna Gelsinger, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Speaking of Leanne from Small Town Stitches, Leanne is stitching this as well. And so fun. I'm kind of in like confetti bedevilment, to be honest with you. So I've struggled a little bit, and I'll get tired of something and then I move on to a little block of color somewhere. I am not one, if you haven't guessed yet, that does everything and fills in block by block or page by page. Even before Pattern Keeper, I wasn't like that. Now I can really jump around. It's funny because when I was kind of getting this ready, I was like, oh, wow, this is tiny compared to some of the other ones. I know it, you know, I think it's about 60,000 stitches. So, not too bad. Also 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. And I jumped around. I didn't focus on any one spot. I am trying to fill in, this is kind of partial white, you know, heart right here. And this is, there'll be all sorts of, there's all sorts of confetti here. So I'm trying to, probably some of the same colors that are here because it's the same sort of look. I'm trying to add some of that in. It's just slow going. It is the way it is. It's funny because I think it was Stitches So Beautiful, she's put out a lot of charts recently. She's charted for full coverage. And there was one that was gorgeous. And I said, oh, I want to stitch that. And then I looked and I said, oh no, there's too much confetti. I'm finding I don't necessarily want one that's like just huge blocks. I'm okay with huge blocks. There's a few like kind of chunky looking patterns that I would like to stitch at some point that are just huge blocks. And I'm all right with that. But excessive confetti, now this was all one color up here, this blue. So that was not excessive, but I am now in kind of excessive confetti land. It's definitely helping me say, is this something I'm going to stitch? Do I want to stitch that? Maybe take a break, put the brakes on it, and see if it's actually something you're going to want to stitch. And just as I do this and I get more experienced, I don't mind some confetti, but if there's a lot of it in all the places I want to stitch and multiple places, I'm not sure. I love the colors in this piece, so I am going to keep plugging along on this. I can guarantee you if I didn't have Pattern Keeper, I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know if I'd be stitching it again still. Very last piece. I have no idea why I pulled it out. I just felt like doing Christmas Eve from Prairie Schooler. And I'm doing the big piece. I had stitched this little one before. I could see stitching this little Santa too, but I haven't yet. I'm kind of getting into a Christmas mood. I'm getting into a Christmas mood life-wise. I just figure, you know, why not? If I want to be cheery and sing Christmas songs, then what's the harm? I want to start putting up Christmas trees. What's the harm? I do want all except the big Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving, and then everybody's going to be here for Thanksgiving. So I thought how fun we can all decorate the big one, just, you know, with all the kids' ornaments and this and that. Well, everybody's here. So that's my plan. But here we go. That's where it is. This is 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics. And except for, I think there's just one. Yeah, I think there's just the one leg here. Otherwise, except for their noses or their eyes or something, the reindeer might be done. So then it's just the little town and all the snow. Now, in the original, you will see there's words in there. It says, hard to read some of them, Noel, Merry Christmas, Peace, Love, Joy. And I was originally doing them, stitched them. I didn't like how you couldn't really see them. I tried another color, pulled that out again. If you were to look close, these white stitches here are really, really wonky because they were filled in post doing everything else. So I think what I'm going to do, this will be in the scrapbook, is I think I'm going to take like a scrapbook, or not a snowflake brad, or maybe some sort of snowflake element, sticker, bead, something, and I'm going to put it in that corner, kind of as like an extra ephemera embellishment. And all of this is just going to be stitched white. I'm not putting any words in. So once I get the town done, then it's just, this would be a really great zoom stitch, to be honest with you. Even that these are pretty blocky. Prairie Schooler is fairly blocky. I am using all of the colors except for Santa's face. I did change that. I've said it before. Santa's faces are usually very mauve-ish for me, for Prairie Schooler. And so I don't think I've ever kept the Prairie Schooler face of the Santa as called for. So that's my stitching. That's it. Yay. All right, so what are my plans? So it's already started. Whip Warriors. Oh, Whip Warriors is open. If you're interested, it is a Facebook group that does challenges and games. It is a participation required group. So if you're not interested in taking before and afters, some events are counting, some are not. So if you're not a counter, there are events for you. You don't have to do every event. They try to do multiples in a month. You do have to do some, and you earn like threads for doing them, and you need to have a certain amount to stay in the group. But it is open. It opened on December 10th, and it is open, I think, to the end of the year, unless they have a cap of a certain amount of participants. I don't know, because, you know, they obviously have to check all of the participants' stuff. So I don't know how many moderators there are, and so on and so forth. So, but it is open. And right now you can try it out. Try out the games between now and the end of the year. And you don't have to I don't think you have to get threads right now necessarily. They're not going to kick you out in January if you haven't gotten them now, as far as I know. So it's a chance to try it and see if it's for you, or if you're like, no, it's not for me. But they have an event called Riff Off, and they used to do it over a weekend. Now they do it for basically more in a week. This way, this gives people of all different time zones throughout the world, usually, to have like a weekend and some extra time. I only do them on the weekend still, as opposed to doing it for the full week. So this is similar to their Whip Frenzy, but it has themes to it. So the theme of this one, this riff off, is cold. So you find a project that has a theme of cold, and then you decide 100, 200, or 500 where you want to be, what level of stitching you're required to do to go to the next project. Then you have to take what's on your first project that you picked, and somehow, it doesn't have to still be cold, related to the cold thing, but somehow relate that one to the next one, and then that one to the next one, and so on and so forth, after you've stitched your number of stitches on them. You can't repeat. So if you have chosen snowman once, you can't use that connection the next time. And so on and so forth, so that you can't, just keep saying bird, 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 or whatever it happens to be. So it can take you in very fun, strange places, depending on how you connect all the pieces. So I will start that today. And I don't know what my cold piece is going to be. I did pull my prompt for this today. Oh, no, it doesn't have a cold theme. I'll tell you that in a second. But so I'll have to think of something and then start connecting. So I'll talk about that next week. But you could still, I try to do between 100 and 200 stitches. So I'll probably, if I can remember to do the before and after pictures, the befores are my fail. That's why I always have problems. I did sign up for next year, because you can tell I'm a stitch what you want when you want kind of girl. So that's that's the stream I'm going in. I signed up, and if I can't get myself into the rhythm of doing the before, then I'll probably just say thank you for the group, but I just can't do it and leave. But I'm going to try. But because I like to do about 150 in something like this, if I was to put it on the group, I would probably just pick the 100 and then just go from there. But that's good too. You can pick and choose depending on how many stitches you want on something. And if you were doing this for the full week of the event, then maybe you do 500 stitches a piece, because you have a whole week to participate. All right, so I'm doing that. I'm going to continue my giving thanks square board. I forgot that I do pull them usually, but I did pull, and I ended up with two, because one of them is a physical action versus a stitch. So I picked to do a gratitude meditation. I love Insight Timer for my meditation app. I meditate every single day. And so there's lots of options for that. So that'll be easy. I probably even have some saved. And so then I pulled a project that reminds me of where I live. Well, I live at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So you can kind of guess I'm probably going to pick something beachy, which is not cold. So I'll probably do this, and then I'll start the riff off. Unless I can try to plan them so that I can start with something cold and I can make the connection. I'll see, one way or the other. Those are my pieces. So that's that. Diamond painting. I'm going to continue diamond painting some ornaments. I did 2 snowmen this week, so those are done. And I did one more of the ugly sweaters. And so I have 10 done. It's turned cold, but I'm still going to take myself out to the garage and try the sealant. And I will let you know my thoughts are once I use it. I don't want to say anything beforehand because I don't want you to buy something that I may say, ooh, I hate this. I'll probably stitch one or seal one, give it a day, see what it looks like, and then go from doing that. I want to put these on my crafty tree. I'm going to split them between my crafty tree and then each of the kids. There's a pencil tree where they'll be staying over Thanksgiving. And anything I've stitched for them before, I've been keeping it until they want it. So those go on there, and then I'll put some of these on there as well. And if they want to keep any of them, they're more than welcome to. I don't need all of them. All right, so that's also what I'm doing. And then I have some upcoming new starts that I wanted to talk to you about in case you want to join me with on any of them. I stitched last year. I can actually show you because I kept the fabric in here. Ooh, it's a whole piece of fabric. I should cut this down. From Heart and Hand, I was working on these and I did the Fa La La. This is Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. I really need to cut that down, get that finished and on the tree. I'd like to stitch the other one, the Mary one. So, same fabric I'm going to use and get that stitched. So I'm starting that probably, maybe this week actually. I think that would be a good one to start. And I think I could get this one finished by Christmas. I sure would like to, and it would be sure nice to get it. These are going to be easy full finishes. I mean, I may do a layer. Did I fully finish? Yeah. I may do I don't know if I'll do one layer and then another layer, or if I'll just do one layer of, say, like a green or something. Since this big block is red, I want to balance it off with some other color. And I don't know if I'll use felt or fabric. I'll see what I have. If I don't know what the size of this is. I do have scalloped rectangle metal steel dies, but I don't know if this would work size-wise. If I did, that would be kind of cute. But, and I would, if I could find felt, that would be what I do. But we'll see. So that's a definite start, possibly this week. Then this one, it was pulled out, and I am 99% sure I have not stitched it. It is Snowman 2023 from Primrose Cottage Stitches. I was looking at this tree, and I'm like, oh gosh, did I stitch it? But no, Primrose, well, Primrose has a look, right? You can usually tell what's a Primrose Cottage pattern. I think I've stitched a similar tree like that somewhere else for them, but I do not, have I stitched this? If so, I can't find it anywhere. I'm almost sure I haven't. So maybe I start this year. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a finish by Christmas. I mean, Primrose are pretty easy to stitch. They're good blocks of color with some small pieces, but unless I do nothing but Christmas and Thanksgiving, which I mean, in December, I don't think that'll happen. Then I was talking with my friend Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner. Hi, Mary. And, or she reached out because I had told you I was thinking about starting this. And she said, oh, I want to start this. So it is Santa's House from the Fabulous House series #1 from Cottage Garden Samplings. I think I want a really nice blue. I originally thought I was going to go out there and do a purple, but I think I want to use purple for the castle, which is the #2 house. So I think I'm going to pull out all of my blues. I want something that's not too dark so the stuff shows up, but that the white snowflakes show up because there's a lot of white. So that's my plan. I don't know. I'm not sure when we're starting this, but if you want to stitch along with us, let me know. Then we're going to go into shopping here. I saw this. I said, I have to stitch this. And then I showed it. I sent it to Mary. I said, Mary, you want to start this too? Because I'm just going to enable her with everything. She said, yes. And then I sent it to Amy. Amy is renewing stitches. Hi, Amy. And Amy's another one. Amy reminds me of Jan Hicks with in the sense, well, they both are beautiful stitching. So that's the first and foremost. But then Amy's voice is, you could just listen to Amy without looking at her stuff. I mean, her stuff is beautiful, so look at it. But like Jan, you could just listen, and it's just so relaxing and comforting to listen to Amy. So I'll link her down below if you have not started watching her. But this is a new chart that was released by Textile Crafts. In fact, I think her name is Laura. I don't know if she says it like I do. She might say it more along the lines of Lara, which is how some people do say it. But she has beautiful work, and I thought this was so fun. And I will play around with a variegated floss, I think. I think the original was stitched with silk. I won't do that. But, so I don't know what this is called. She just released it in her Etsy shop. I'll link her Etsy shop if you'd like to join us. So I have no idea when we're starting either one of these. Probably sooner rather than later. I mean, this one's clearly not getting done this year. This one probably won't either, but I think I'd like to get a nice start on it. So this one could be a 2025 Christmas finish. This one's probably at least a 2026, if not a 2027.